sax. Cuban music, Afro-Cuban music, musician of Cuba?
Do I think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah. I mean, there's like, I don't know. My music has moments of clave, and it has like, I think what I've taken more from Cuban music and different types of Latin music is just like that they all are kind of these meeting points between musical traditions that come from Africa, from Europe, from Middle East. Like, you know, it's that's what's most striking about these different musical traditions, is that they're a real I don't know, meeting point of a lot of different like perspectives, and I think that's what I try to like sort of channel in my own music, you know.
¿Cuál es la diferencia en tocar con la clave por un trompetista y sin clave, sin el ritmo cubano?
I don't know. There's clave everywhere, man. You know, it's like, and I mean, I don't mean like you're gonna hear like da 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 in all types of music, but like, I think to me it's like clave and like blues. You know, these are terms that, yes, they do have like, there is some specificity to them, and there is like kind of a more like what is the feeling of the blues? What is the feeling of clave? Like what purpose does clave serve in any type in a certain piece of music? You know, and like what is that in like swing, or what is that in funk? Like what is the clave of funk? What is the clave of swing? And it's not necessarily like a precise rhythm to me. It's more just kind of fitting in between the lines, you know, like feeling like a rhythmic flexibility and groundedness at the same time, you know.
Trumpet cubano, if you think the best.
I mean, chocolate. Yeah, chocolate. I mean, it doesn't get better. But also, I mean, who's the guy, like, slightly older? Maybe he played with Iridikere at one point. Not Marcelo, trumpet player.
The one like Bobby, you mean? Bobby Carcassonne?
No.
Bobby Carcassonne.
Forget his name. It's not Chapotin.
The historic trumpet.
It's
now.
It's not like old, but he's like maybe 10 to 20 years older than like Kali.
You think of Carlos Sardui?
Carlos Sardui, yeah, Carlos Sardui. Yeah.
Carlos Sardui.
And newer people like Jacek Manzano.
Julio Padron.
That's who I'm thinking of, yeah. Julito Padron. What I like about Julito Padron is that...
You know Michael Gonzalez.
No. What I like about Julito Padron is that you hear that he understands a lot of like you know, language of like bebop and stuff like that, but he has a certain rhythmic flexibility that is informed by Cuban music, and so the way he kind of mixes these two places and perspectives I really like. And you know, there's a lot of other people today, you know, like other Cuban trumpet players like, you know, Cali Rodriguez Peña and Jacek Manzano, who I think like
Jacek Manzano.
Yeah, like similarly like have a deep knowledge of a lot of like jazz language and harmony and scales and stylistic, you know, traits, but just have a rhythmic flexibility and adeptness that I think you can only really have if you understand Cuban music.
Do you think about Dizzy Gillespie in Cuban music?
I think I mean, there's nothing before it, you know? I mean, that it's revolutionary, you know, and like, I think...
with your grandfather.
Yeah, I think what I like about that is like...
Mario Bauslar también.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he kind of, you know, to me, he really like stuck to his guns, like in the way he played, but found a way to like translate that to the setting, you know? So.